What's going on, fellas? You know who it is. So, I get this question a lot. Hey, Zeke, are foreign women better than American women or Western women? And I understand why guys say that. It's because mainly, number one, I briefly mentioned this in my last video, that it's your status that makes you so much more attractive to foreign women if you're from the West. What status am I talking about? Just the fact that you're from the West, just the fact that you're from America, makes you a Chad to foreign women. Why? Because most developing or third world country women don't even have the money to go get themselves good food, let alone worry about what kind of outfits they wear, worry about going to Victoria's Secret, any of that bull crap, right? So that's why they're looking for a way out of their home country, out of their place, to a better living situation, which is the West. Believe it or not, fellas, the West is literally, the West, quote unquote, the first world, is literally the best place in this planet to live in when it comes to living situations. There's more degrees than you can ever count out in the eastern side of the world in some of these smart countries. And they have master's degree, bachelor's degree, and they still don't get a job. They still got to work a janitor's job, easy with a master's degree. So that's why everybody wants to come here, and that's why when we American passport holders go to these foreign countries, their women, quote unquote, respect us and treat us better. Now, what you have to understand though, is women's nature globally is the same. It's like saying that, okay, here's a Ferrari, here's a Toyota Corolla. They're both cars. Yeah, one might look better than the other, but at the core of it, they're both cars. And they both have the exact same functionalities, exact same usage. We take them to go from one place to another place. Same with women. They might come in different packages. They might look different. They might have different characteristics when it comes to personality traits, psychological traits, but at the core of it, they're all women. At the biological core, at the biological need level, at the biological desire level, men and women across the globe want the exact same things from the opposite sex. Point blank, period. So you have to always keep that in mind, especially when you ask that question, are foreign women better than American women? Yes, you're going to get more respect. Why? Because you're at a higher status than them. You'd get the same type of treatment from American women if you had a better status than American women. Just look at celebrities. Obviously, you being from America or you being from the West is not going to cut it. That by itself. You need to have other things going for yourself that put you at a higher level than her, than the woman. And then you're going to get that respect, that treatment that you get from foreign women. A middle-aged, not a middle-aged, a middle-income earner person is considered to be a king in the Philippines and the eastern side of the world. A guy who makes $60,000, $70,000 in America is considered to be a king in those places. But we all know that 60,000, 70,000 is nothing here, right? You're literally a middle-class person if you're making that much money. Fellas, when I say rich in the western side, I'm talking about at least $1 million or above. Even $500,000, I don't think puts you at a rich category. $500,000, I think you're very, very, very well off. But if you don't have seven-figure income, I wouldn't consider yourself, or if I don't have $1 million, I wouldn't consider myself to be rich. Point blank, period, fellas. Especially if I'm comparing myself with the Western living standards. If I go to the eastern side with $1 million, oh man, I'm like the Sultan or the prince there, right? But that's what you guys have to understand. Now, with that being said, that all women have the exact same needs and nature, biologically and at the core across the globe, we have to look at this, fellas. The internet is everywhere. And more people are having access to the internet globally every single day. As every single day passes by, more and more people are having internet access every single day. What does that tell you? That tells you that, hey, all this shit that we see in the West, that feminism propaganda that we see in the West, these Eastern women are also seeing that. Feminism I'm pretty sure, um, was, I don't want to say I'm pretty sure, I know for a fact, feminism right now is a they're trying, what I'm trying to say is that they're trying to push feminism across the globe. It's a global issue, and it's going to get worse and worse every single year. Let me elaborate. When I first, um, you know what? I'm going to talk about my friends, because my example that I was going to give you guys, that wouldn't make a whole lot of sense in this scenario. So, anyways, one of my friends have traveled across the world. I haven't myself, right? I've only been to a few places. I haven't gone to a whole lot of places. He has traveled across the world. From he was in the military. That's how he had traveled. And he says that, Zeke, everywhere I've been, and he's around my age. I think he's 24 now. Everywhere I've been, when I first started my deployment, because he got deployed in his first year of his military career, and then he got deployed again in his last year. So there was a 3 or 4 year gap in between, right? He got deployed in the same year, came back, and then he got deployed again in the 5th year, and he came back till his time was up. He was there in the 5th year till his time was up. He came back and said, Zeke, the exact same places that I went on the eastern side of the world, my very first year of deployment, versus the last year I've been there, I have seen a lot more women into corporate scenes, into other job fields that men used to be in, into schools more. Like you see school kids walk to schools, going to schools in cars and other vehicles. And he said that when he was interacting with women within just the past few years, past 3 or 4 years, overall in these big cities, women's mentality changed, and they started to become more and more like feminist women in the West. I don't know how many of you guys watch my videos who have who have lived through the 2000s, early 2000s, but if you have, you definitely know the difference in women then versus now. There's a huge, massive difference. You know, Patrice O'Neal died, I think, in his mid 2000s or late 2000s, right? And he was making a lot of talk shows, a lot of radio shows in his early 2000s, and he was talking about women back then. And you could tell from how he was talking about the issues going on back then that the women then was nowhere near as they are today. Back then, women were still way more feminine than they are now. Because if they weren't, Patrice O'Neal would have ripped them apart. And he definitely would have mentioned that in his radio shows. Why do I believe Patrice O'Neal so much? Is because I don't know how many guys know him, but go check him out. He's one of the realest comedian I've ever come across. And every single thing that he says is right on point. That's why I know that this man would have definitely pointed out all those issues. And we probably would have learned a lot more from him than we know now, than we did while he was in there, while he was going through it. But he predicted a lot of the things that's happening today. So yes, I do think that that feminism is actually spreading in the East. My auntie, she lives in the eastern side of the world. She used to be a lot more feminine. Now that she has a job in the corporate scene, and she's married with this fat, ugly dude, and she wears the pants in the relationship, she's always preaching this, oh, women are equal to men, this, that, this feminist bullshit. And it's sickening seeing it coming from my own family. And that's why I stopped talking to most of my family members anyways. My mom used to say all this bullshit till a certain point. And then my mom's getting old now, and she watches my videos as well. My mom watches my videos as well. And she's starting to see my point more and more. And she agrees with me into a lot of things. There's still some things she doesn't, but that's besides the point. But fellas, this is another thing about feminist women, is that they will not agree with you till it's way too late. Even when women in their 40s, late 40s and early 50s, even if they have some sort of sexual market value left, you know, like young dudes are coming over and banging out cougars type of sexual market value, even if they have some sort of sexual market value left, they still will preach this feminist bullshit. My mom doesn't have anything left, but and mainly that's why she's not continuing with this crap that she continued her whole life. But my mom was in a different boat, so I can't really call her a true feminist. She was in a different situation, so that's besides the point. But fellas, if somebody wants something from you, obviously they're gonna try to sell you the best version of themselves. And as soon as you buy it, then the real person comes out. That's why I tell you guys never to get married, and I always say that girlfriends are always better than wives. Because when she's a girlfriend, she always has an incentive to do better, to be better, to make herself more appealing to you. But when you sign on that dotted line on the marriage certificate, now she gotten what she wanted, and she has you by your balls in a vice grip. And now you don't have to do. Fuck, my hand's itching. Now you don't have to. Now you don't give her an incentive anymore, and she doesn't have to keep doing all the hard work that women like to say, right? Oh, we don't need to please men. Okay, you don't need to please us, baby girl. That's fine. You just come over and please my dick tip for 30 minutes, an hour, and then I'll send you on your way. Sure, go ahead. But fellas, please be careful. Please don't bring these other women to America and to the western side. If you do get married, leave them there. I talked about this before a while back, a couple months ago. I said I was given like options and different ways of how to get married, or is marriage a complete no-no for those of you guys who still want to get married. And I talked about it. I said, hey, if you really want to get married, one of the best options that you can create for yourself is that you marry somebody and leave them there, and you send them probably, I don't know, a couple $100s a month. That's a lot of money for them there. I don't know why my hand's itching so much. That's a lot of money for those chicks over there. And so you leave them there, and you just go visit them every now and then you have your freedom here. She's not on your shit, nagging all the time, bitching and moaning and complaining all the time. And whenever you go there, you have a great time with your wife or wives. And then you come back here, do what you want to do here. Hey, if you want to cheat on her, if you want to go late, whatever you do, brother, that's your business. I'm not telling you what to do. But in the West today, how things are going and how things will be keep going, marriage is not an option. As long as I'm living in the West, I will never get married. It just doesn't make sense to me. Because I'm at a point in my life where I have so much things to lose already. And I'm in my early 20s. So it's only going to grow from here. My assets only going to grow from here. So it doesn't make any sense why I would jeopardize all of these things just for some pussy. One pussy that I'm supposed to be tied down to for the rest of my life? Are you out of your fucking mind? Get the hell out of here, dude. No way. Ain't no pussy that expensive. Ain't no pussy that special. There's billions of them running around. Don't even come at me with companionship bullshit, alright? Don't even start that. Ain't nobody got time for that either. Just get a dog if you really want a companionship that bad. It's gotta be loyal to you, and it won't even talk back to you. See? Win-win for you. Anyway, so yes, fellas, feminism is spreading in the East, and a lot of guys come in here in my comment section and did come in here in a couple of my other videos where I talked about foreign women. They said that not to bring them over here, and these guys are from those places, those countries, so that automatically tells you that those women are no good either. The only reason why you are getting better treatment is because you are a Chad, just by the fact that you're an American citizen. You are at a higher status than their men over there, than the men over there. If you really want to know what women are like, or what a certain woman is like, go to her neighborhood, go to her community, and talk to the men in that community. The men will give you all the things you need to know. Because men are way more realistic, because we start getting rejected from a very early age, and our whole life we get rejected. So that's why we become way more realistic than women way too early. That's why it's going to be men who's always going to be the true, harsh, cold facts. So there's a reason why these guys are saying don't bring these women back to the U.S. I'm gonna tell you the same exact thing, fellas. Yes, feminism is spreading. They have internet. They have cell phones. You don't think they're seeing these TikTok girls shaking their ass? You don't think women in other countries are shaking their ass on TikTok either? Of course they are. They want to be more and more educated. And men, they're here. Some countries, some countries men rule still. The power, men still have way more power. That's okay as long as you don't abuse your power, man. I gotta give some message to our men as well here. If you're in one of these Muslim countries or some countries where men are rulers of the society, don't abuse your power, fellas. Women already know you're the head of the household. So you need to keep a balance. I always preach that. And I'm not going to preach it to women because if they get power, we're doomed. We're fucked. Because women are not logical. They're always going to make decisions based on emotions. And when it comes to balancing power, you need logic, not emotions. That's why I always preach to women always preach to men, that fellas, we need to balance our power if we have it. It's gonna backfire to us if we abuse the power. So just remember, just be careful with that. Just remember that. But fellas, yeah, overall feminism is spreading, and that's why we need more and more red pill content. That's why we need more and more red pill content creators to come out, because YouTube can only stop so many of us, right? If we all get united, who can stop it? It's gonna be a long journey, I know. But it's still possible. I believe in you guys. So share my content to people, to your friends, so more and more men can get this message. Hope this video made sense. Follow me on Instagram at Zeekpeak. Until next time, stay blessed, stay beautiful, and above all, stay classy.